Today, we will delve into the most catastrophic floods in history, where the power of nature has left an unforgettable mark. These floods are not only natural disasters, but also painful lessons about the power of water and our preparedness to face it. We will review the 6 floods with the largest submerged areas recorded over the past decade. Together, we will explore the colossal numbers, devastating impacts, and the relentless efforts to restore the affected regions. Ranked 6th on the list is the flood that occurred in July 2021, which had widespread effects in both Germany and Belgium, inundating around 50,000 ha, 500 square kilometers, primarily affecting riverine areas and low-lying regions. The flood was caused by prolonged heavy rainfall over several days, which exceeded the land's absorption capacity. Unusual heavy rains were triggered by the influence of cold air masses from Western Europe, combined with a stationary low-pressure system, resulting in a large amount of rain in a short period. Approximately 220 people lost their lives, with over 180 in Germany and about 40 in Belgium. Additionally, more than 200,000 people in these 2 countries were severely impacted due to loss of homes, lack of drinking water, and electricity. Thousands of houses were damaged or completely destroyed. Roads, bridges, drainage systems, and other infrastructure were heavily damaged. Economic damage is estimated to be in the billions of euros, with Germany alone facing losses of up to 30 billion euros. The governments of Germany and Belgium declared states of emergency, deploying thousands of soldiers, police officers, rescue workers, and volunteers to assist the affected population and carry out relief operations. However, many areas were cut off, complicating rescue efforts and the subsequent economic recovery. Coastal countries often face the brunt of nature's fury, with Vietnam and the 2020 flood being a prime example. Occurring from October to November 2020 across the central provinces of Vietnam, the flood submerged approximately 200,000 ha, 2,000 square kilometers of land, resulted in hundreds of deaths, and severely affected millions of people. The flood was caused by prolonged heavy rainfall over several weeks due to a series of storms and tropical depressions from the South China Sea, notably a combination of Typhoon Linfa. And a tropical depression led to extreme rainfall, exceeding long-term averages. The most affected areas were Thoa Tien Huay, Quang Binh, Quang Tri, Quang Nam, and Ha Tan. These regions, characterized by high mountains and interwoven rivers and streams, faced an increased risk of flash floods and landslides under heavy rainfall conditions. Around 200,000 ha, 2,000 square kilometers, of agricultural land and homes were inundated. At least 243 people were killed or went missing, with more than 160 deaths attributed to floods and landslides. Over 7 million people were affected, and 200,000 homes were damaged or destroyed. Thousands of roads were damaged, and many bridges and transportation infrastructure were either collapsed or severely damaged. Economic damage is estimated to reach $416.7 million USD. The agricultural sector was heavily impacted, with thousands of hectares of rice and crops submerged and lost. Hundreds of thousands of livestock and poultry perished. Thousands of hectares of farmland and aquaculture ponds were washed away by the floodwaters. In a particularly tragic event during this historic flood, on October 12th, a rescue team consisting of 21 military personnel and local government officials set out to search for and rescue workers missing due to a landslide at the Rao Trang 3 hydropower plant in Thuat Tien Huy province. On their way, the team was unexpectedly hit by a major landslide during the night, resulting in the death of 13 rescue team members. During the rainy season of 2021, a major flood in Thailand inundated approximately 200,000 ha of land, with water for up to 2 months. It is considered one of the historic floods of the past decade. From mid-October 2021 and continuing through November 2021, the flood was primarily caused by the impact of tropical storm Chempaka. This storm brought severe effects, including heavy rain, flooding, and landslides, raising water levels in rivers and lakes, which led to severe flooding in the region. It's worth noting that just a month earlier, Thailand had already endured Typhoon Dayanmu with its destructive force and long-lasting effects, from which it had not yet recovered. Therefore, the October flooding has further exacerbated the situation in the country. The central and southern provinces of Thailand, including Chumphon, Surat Thani, and Nakhon Si Thammarat, were the most heavily affected. Over 100,000 people were directly impacted by the flood, with tens of thousands having to evacuate their homes. Approximately 200,000 ha, 2,000 square kilometers, were submerged, with over 100,000 people affected. Specifically, 120,000 ha of agricultural land were flooded, and economic damage amounted to millions of USD, including losses in infrastructure, agriculture, and tourism. Ranked third on the list is the historic flood of 2017 in Bangladesh and Myanmar, which submerged approximately 700,000 ha of agricultural land and inundated hundreds of villages. From July to September 2017, prolonged heavy rainfall due to the influence of the southwest monsoon and tropical depressions, combined with water from major rivers like the Ganges and Brahmaputra, along with continuous storms and rain, caused the rivers to overflow. The local dams and levees were overwhelmed, leading to severe flooding. The most heavily affected areas included northern and northeastern Bangladesh and western Myanmar. Over 8 million people were affected, and around 140 people lost their lives in this flood. Approximately 235,000 houses were damaged or destroyed, and many infrastructures were severely affected, including roads, bridges, and schools. Many farmers in Bangladesh and Myanmar lost their crops, exacerbating poverty conditions. Disease outbreaks such as malaria and diarrhea increased due to the floodwaters and poor sanitation. The flood also heightened migration and refugee crises, particularly in Myanmar. Many people were forced to leave their homes in search of safe shelter, leading to overcrowding and stress in temporary settlements. approximately 1 million ha of land submerged and economic damage estimated at around 15 billion USD. The 2022 flood in Pakistan is not only a historic natural event for the country, but also the second most devastating flood in the list of the most catastrophic floods of the past decade. The flood was primarily caused by unusually heavy rainfall, largely due to the La Niña phenomenon, which increased precipitation in the region. La Niña is a climate phenomenon in the global weather system, specifically part of a cycle known as the Southern Oscillation. It is the opposite phase of the El Niño phenomenon within this cycle. La Niña significantly impacts the reduction of sea surface temperatures, creating severe weather conditions in some regions and can potentially lead to large storms. From June through September 2022, the flood predominantly affected the provinces of Sindh, Balochistan, Punjab, and Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. Approximately 33 million people were affected. It is estimated that more than 1 million houses were flooded or severely damaged, leading to millions of people being displaced and living in temporary conditions. Many roads, bridges, and railways were damaged or inundated, disrupting the transportation of goods and the movement of people. Around 800,000 ha, 8,000 square kilometers of agricultural land were flooded, causing significant damage to crops and agricultural production. Economic damage is estimated at around 15 billion USD, including losses in infrastructure, agriculture, industry, and other sectors. China is known for experiencing numerous major floods due to its complex river system, particularly the large rivers. It is no surprise that the country is at the top of the list of nations affected by historic floods. Specifically, in 2020, a major flood submerged approximately 1 million ha of land, affected tens of millions of people, and caused billions of USD in economic damage. The flood began in June and lasted until August due to prolonged heavy rainfall during the monsoon season, especially in the Yangtze River Basin. Tropical storms and low-pressure systems moved into the region, increasing rainfall and leading to water accumulation. Dams, reservoirs, and water management systems were unable to handle the large volume of water, causing it to overflow into low-lying areas and result in flooding. The flood primarily affected areas along the Yangtze River, including the provinces of Hubei, Hunan, Jiangsu, and Anhui. The city of Wuhan in Hubei province was one of the hardest hit areas. Over 33 million people were directly affected by the flood, with millions of homes inundated or damaged. The total area flooded is estimated at around 1 million ha, including more than 800,000 ha of agricultural land. Damage reached up to 25 billion USD, primarily in agriculture, infrastructure, and tourism. International media organizations such as BBC, CNN, and Al Jazeera reported on the flood as one of the most severe natural disasters of 2020. Analysts have called on China to consider reforms in water management systems and infrastructure development to better cope with future natural disasters. Thank you for joining us on this journey to explore the Tagti's 6 most catastrophic floods of the decade. We hope this video has provided you with a clearer understanding of the scale and devastation of these natural disasters, as well as important lessons on preparedness and response to emergencies.